All right, welcome back to That's Not Real podcast. Today, unbeknownst to him, this isn't episode anything. This is sports episode 1. Officially, the first sports. I mean, we did some other stuff earlier. Maybe it's 3, episode 3. But so based upon, well, first we're going to talk about the NBA this week. So where do you think Damian Lillard's going?
I think he ends up in Miami just because I think they're going to do him right by his request. I do think it's going to be a three-team trade of some kind, maybe
it's gotta
four.
Be right. Miami doesn't have.
Yeah, because Portland doesn't want Hero, and I'm actually a big Hero. I think he's a great player.
So is Riley. So Riley overvalues him.
Yeah,
Portland
so
probably undervalues him.
I think it might be something where maybe Tyler Hero goes to Philly, Dame goes to Miami, Harden goes to the Clippers, and then you see some loose pieces start to fly around everywhere.
And then Portland gets a bunch of draft picks.
Yeah, Portland gets a bunch of draft picks.
I think so. I mean, Damian Lillard finally requested a trade, and he said he prefers the Heat. I just don't know how they make that trade.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they're clearing out a lot of their guards. That's why they didn't re-sign Vincent. That's why they traded away Strauss.
Well, that's funny. Yes, I talked about it. I think they're doing that. And then I got home, and it's like, oh, Lillard finally requested a trade. It's like, good for him. I hope he has the Kevin Garnett. I'll be rooting for him.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, it absolutely is the Kevin Garnett effect, where his value, if Kevin Garnett was, he's just an average player, he's a good player, but not a superstar. He goes to Boston, wins the thing, and all of a sudden, now he's one of the best ever. It's the whole reason I hate when people get on players for.
You had a.
It's not just LeBron. Any player, like, there's tons of players all over the place. Any player who changes team, you can't just be loyal to one team if they don't know how to draft.
No, and what's funny is most guys try to be. Like Bradley Beal's in Washington forever. Like a lot of times it's 10 years because they get that second contract and they're like, hey, I've been here 10 years. Do something.
See that even Kobe almost left the Lakers for a little while. I mean, there's very few. There are some players I think who, like Dirk was the last big one I can remember, who stayed with Dallas his whole career.
Well, remember when Kobe made that trade, he said, and Chicago's not allowed to send the best players back. He's like, I'm not going there. Yeah. So they only draft picks. I could see Portland maybe training with the Pelicans for Zion.
And that was a different era. So now these teams are willing to get 4 draft picks back or stuff like that. Kind of what we used to do in video games.
And trading in 2030.
I will say the free agency has been very interesting. There's been a lot of good signings, in my opinion.
Well, do you think Damian for Zion?
Actually, I think that would be a perfect. But I don't think Dame would really like it.
There's some pieces there.
They got Ingram. They got a couple pieces. But again, that might be another one of those interesting 3-team trades, right?
Right. Yeah.
Where maybe you give someone like Miami, Dame, Zion goes to Portland.
And then they get a bunch of pieces.
Yeah, New Orleans gets a bunch of those pieces that'll help them because clearly they're not. So that's the first time I've heard that one. I actually really like that. I do think the biggest surprise winner to me in free agency is Milwaukee. Brook Lopez so undervalued, and
they brought back
re-signing.
The same team.
I know, I get that, but
first round loss to Miami. Just saying.
If
Giannis goes down, they suck, and they're not just bad if he goes down. Like they suck.
No, they don't.
They lost to one person.
Dude, they have 3 other All-Stars on the team.
Where were they when Jimmy Butler was knocking them out of the playoffs?
It wasn't just Jimmy Butler. Stop with that. Like, Bam was a great player.
I'm saying, okay, but Jimmy Butler was the leader of it. When Miami, the 10th seed, was knocking
Butler is their best player. So when your best player is healthy and your other team's best player isn't, you're not going to use
But they weren't even competitive. So, my biggest surprise, and then we'll do biggest surprise and what you think is the best. 3 biggest surprises. This is what I'm going to do. Sabonis got paid $43 million a year for the next 5 years.
Well, you hate the guy, so that of course is going to be a surprise.
Yeah, I think he's way overrated. Some team, OKC signed some guy from the European League that used to be a number 5 pick to decent money.
Batum? Or not, I know who you're talking about, the point guard from Australia.
Is that who that is? Yeah. And then Vincenzo, I don't know how to say his name, who I really liked on Golden State.
DiVincenzo, from the old Villanova.
Yeah, he's now a Knick. He's making like $10 million a year.
Yeah, now they have 3 players from that Villanova squad that won it. I actually think that's an underrated signing, too, because he's very tough, good shooter.
Well, yeah, I was surprised that he got the $10 million. And before that, like his agent was like, yeah, you got to opt out because they were around 4.3.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys. Some people overpaid a little bit. But I'm not. I know a lot of people say Houston's a young team. I think it was Houston. that signed Van Fleet.
Houston, yeah, and they took
And I was
Van
like,
Fleet. They took the
yeah, but he is
backup
not
Phoenix
a
guy.
3-year max. I get you have to spend the money. If it was a 1-year deal, maybe a 2-year deal, I'd say that's great. But in 3 years, when you're going to need to bring in the big free agents, you can't, like, without doing a trade. So I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Well, Houston's not a big free agency market. They don't get a lot of big free agents.
Yeah, true. I will say if Harden does get traded to the Clippers, that'd be a probably good deal for both of them. Although Russell Westbrook signed a deal much cheaper than I expected.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's $4 million a year.
Yeah, $4 million.
He basically said, "I want my ring. I'm taking the low. Please get him some help."
Yeah.
And
$4 million a year. I mean, obviously, if Paul George, Leonard, Westbrook, if Harden goes there, they have so much depth on that team.
if Harden goes there, Paul George is probably gone.
No, they're talking about there's a couple other guys they can get rid of. Terrence Mann.
But Westbrook and Harden didn't get along in Houston.
Yeah, my guess is that he's not going there now, but.
But I think Westbrook's gonna be a completely different
And
player.
then you see Dylan
Brooks.
Brooks get $20 million per. Now he was better than people gave him credit for because he got all the slack, but he is an average role player.
He
at
had
best.
that meltdown.
Yeah, he is not someone you give $20 million to, in my opinion.
So yeah, Dylan Brooks. My whole problem was him being the villain. Is he was playing the villain, but then he wouldn't talk to the media after.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna walk that walk like Draymond Green does, and you have bad games, you still gotta talk to the media.
Draymond
after.
would speak to it, and
Yeah, he'd be talking about it. I mean, you can't, dude. You can't.
Yeah, Draymond coming back at a cheaper rate was big. Bruce
$25 million.
Bowen or Bruce Brown or whatever his
Bruce
name
Brown
is.
went to Indiana. That was weird to me.
It was weird, but
I guess he got his raise.
that hurts Denver, so it's a good signing for the Pacers.
Well, all the media was like, "Oh, he's going to L.A." No, he's not.
Yeah, that was LA did. I mean, again, I'm a Suns fan. LA did good.
We signed
re-signing all the guys.
two-year deal, which
and
makes more
Vincent.
sense. So when LeBron's gone, D'Angelo Russell will be an expiring contract.
Yeah, and his contract is a player option for year 2.
Right.
Anyway.
So the Lakers are setting it up. So when LeBron leaves, they're like looking at what other teams did when LeBron left. So they're not complete trash.
Yeah.
Because they're all guys that fit around LeBron.
Well, they're finally.
And then you can't build a team around one guy. Then a guy leaves and expect them to do well.
When they brought in Westbrook and he was a bad fit, that set that whole team back 2 years. So when they made those trades in the offseason, it's not like those trades. People act like those trades brought in immense talent. They really didn't. What they
brought in
did,
a lot of role players.
they brought in the role players
fit.
that they needed.
Well,
yeah,
it fits the team.
And that's what these teams. You still see it. A lot of teams just they don't know how to build a team. They just want as many names as they can get. It worries me with Phoenix, but that is a lot of talent.
It is. And then, as you saw from Miami, if you sign the right role players, they're going to play bigger when you need them to.
Right.
So, like, I would love to see Dame go to Golden State, but he's not a fit. So, it doesn't work well. But Steph and Dame in the same backcourt.
Oh, that would be insane.
Be crazy. And they have the pieces. They could trade Kuminga, Moody, some picks.
I mean, I guess I could in theory, but if I was
And
Portland,
Dame's from San Fran. So
if I was Portland, I wouldn't trade them to the West.
They're not winning the next 3 years. Steph Curry only has like 4.
Yeah.
Steph Curry, so let's say he has 4 years left. By the time Cookie, what's his name? The number 3 pick? Number 3 pick from this draft. I can't remember his name. I call him Cookie. No, it's not true.
What team are you talking about?
Portland.
Oh,
Scooter.
Yeah, Scooter.
Yeah.
From the
Scooter,
G
not
League
Cookie.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
So by the time he's good, Steph Curry is going to be past his prime. Damian Lillard will be past his prime. So it's not – Golden State won't be fighting then.
Yeah, and then, I mean, according to everyone, it's going to be Wemby's league, so.
I can't –
That guy's going to be a monster. I don't care what you say.
I don't think so. I think he's going to be so overrated, and he's going to have a decent career, but he's going to be looked at as a bust. He's not going to be a bust, but he's going to be looked at that because they want him to come in and be what LeBron was in year 1.
No, I mean, he's not LeBron, but he is going to be pretty much unstoppable at times.
You just body him. So the over-under for him is like 20 points. I think is what Vegas is betting on him right now. That's the over-under for him to average this year.
Yes, but literally his wingspan, he can grab the rim without jumping. And
So could Manute Bull. Show him Sean Bradley.
But he's agile. He can actually move left to right.
Yeah, until his foot no longer works, and then he turns into Greg Oden, who actually would have been a beast.
I will say, does he have possible injury concerns? He could, but he hasn't shown any of it.
He's a taller Chet.
And hearing some of the interviews with this guy, he kind of gets it. Like, I understand.
Oh, yeah, no, that's why I said he'll have a decent
I like the
career.
way he's building up his body. He's not just trying to add muscle. He's like, no, we got to do it structurally sound. And he seems to get it all. I said, I think he's going to be. He's winning multiple MVPs. He's winning multiple championships.
He's not winning multiple MVPs. He's not. And they're talking about.
Right, 10 years from now,
they're talking about him. He's going to get the Spurs into the playoffs.
Not this year.
He's not. First of all, can we stop talking about Popovich as the greatest coach ever? What has he done without Duncan and Robinson?
Yeah, I mean,
nothing since Duncan left.
But that's hard because you don't know
Kawhi left.
You don't know what a great coach is going to do.
Sure, Bill Belichick. No longer people are starting talking about Andy Reid being a better coach because he can't win without that. Like Mike Shanahan can't win with John Elway.
That's what I said. A coach, you can be a great coach, but no matter how great you are, it comes down to the players.
No, Eric Spoelstra has won without,
and he's also sucked.
Right, but then he wins with different guys. Popovich has done nothing.
Well, it's hard.
Nothing. They're not. They don't even.
The guys you're talking about spent 30 years.
Right, but he's in charge of drafts. He's in charge of coaches develop players. He hasn't developed anyone.
He has. He's had a couple bad years, and he might be kind of too old for this now. We'll see. But
when was the last time the Spurs made the playoffs?
Dude,
10 teams.
It's 4 years ago because they've been out for 4 years. But I mean, you look at the talent on that team; it's nowhere near the talent on any other team.
Well, why isn't he developing them?
He develops some, but you don't just create stars. You know that as well as I do.
Right, no, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, you got to stop talking about the greatest coach ever when he can't win without
I think he actually probably is one. He used to make great
adjustments. They gave him all this stuff because they said they drafted and developed all these guys. And now they're not drafting and developing all these guys when he's in charge. So either he was in charge the first time, it was great.
I just think he's past his prime. I think he's one of those old people who
he had Parker, Ginobili, Duncan Robinson, Kawhi.
Not at the same time. Well, not for the whole span of it.
To take Duncan out, he had the rest of it for the whole span.
He didn't have Robinson at the same time as Kawhi.
No, not Robinson. He had Duncan, Kawhi, Ginobili, and Parker.
Well, Kawhi was towards the end of that, but yeah.
Right, I'm just saying. So, I mean...
Well, yeah, they had a squad. Don't get me wrong.
When Belichick finishes
fourth... Maybe he developed Kawhi.
When Belichick finishes fourth in AFC East again...
That's going to happen.
Can we start talking about him without Tom Brady? Because Tom Brady won without him.
Yeah. I mean, so who do you think wins this coming year?
Are we still on the NBA or do we
NBA?
NBA? I think it's going to be more open. I don't think Denver's going to repeat. It's possible. It depends on where. A lot of it depends. If Lillard somehow goes to Philly, I think they have a chance. I don't think Boston and Porzingis is all that great.
Boston's my pick to win the East next year.
They lost Marcus Smart, so that's tough.
Porzingis
for Smart is
Porzingis is
what?
He's another really good player. What do you got with Porzingis? He's like an 18-10 player.
What has he done? He's not a difference maker. No, he's a good.
He can be.
He's a good player for like 2 games.
If you want to say he's injury prone and he misses like
he was in Washington with Bradley Beal and they didn't make the playoffs.
I get it. He's now their third, maybe fourth best player.
But he's replacing Marcus Smart. Is he that big of an upgrade over Marcus Smart?
Marcus Smart is so overrated, it's ridiculous.
No, I'm just saying. So Marcus Smart brought more defense because he flopped so much that Porzingis isn't. I don't think he adds that much value.
But he
overall.
does add shot blocking.
Okay, they got Robert Williams.
But now Robert Williams is going to come off the bench. It still makes
Porzingis is injury prone too, so he's.
Depends how their point guard play goes, but they got a lot of.
There was a good sign. I think the Knicks will be better with Vincenzo. I can't say his name, even though I'm a fan of him. Who someone made a decent play to upgrade somewhere? Who was that?
I mean, I think it depends on matchups. I think Giannis comes back strong next year, so I think Milwaukee's going to be a force.
Someone added something that made them be able to compete with Boston. I can't remember who it was.
Well,
I don't know. So, if you guys know the big free agent in the East that might have changed.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, I know we got the Knicks, we got Philly, so it wasn't them. We got Miami made the playoffs, Indiana, but they're not.
Cleveland didn't add anyone.
Well, Cleveland, yeah, they added a few free agents, so their free agents were pretty good.
Maybe if someone talk about if they got Lillard, they then would be
maybe.
If Damian Lillard goes to Philadelphia or Miami, I think they become the favorites in the East.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if he doesn't, I still have Boston.
A lot depends on do they keep
now in the West. The West is so hard to predict because there's so many good teams and it's so dependent on injuries. I think Denver's still got to be the favorite.
Yeah, I think they'll still be the one seed. It'll be interesting to see how they respond. Without caring as much.
Yeah, but I still I still have them as the favorite. Lakers will be right up there, probably a 3 or 4 seed next year.
You think so?
I do. I mean,
So
I
many
think
injuries.
the team that they have is much more balanced and can handle injuries better than they have.
I still don't think so.
But that's why I don't have them as like a 1 or 2. They're 3, 4,
Oh,
5.
I think the team, and you'll be happy. I think if it stays healthy, is Phoenix.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, I see Phoenix
Because
being right
Vogel's
there.
gonna make
But
Ayton better.
my challenge, the only reason I have them being the second best team in the West. The only reason I don't have them first, Ayton can't handle Jokic, and I don't think they're going to be able to. Now, hopefully,
I think they should bring Ayton off the bench and give him his touches and stuff like that.
No,
as
I
a
think
sixth man.
hopefully a new coach gets in his head. Listen, if you rebound, you're going to get 20 points a game.
Right, but they're not with the shots because everyone else is a scorer.
I think he'll get so many open shots just because he's going to get switched to little guys because you're going to have to play small to play Phoenix.
Yeah, I
So you're
still
gonna
would
get
bring him
these
off
little
off
guys.
the bench because then you can give him all the points. He's happy. He's getting the touches.
But then you have no big. You need a big on the floor. You can't play.
you just need a defense. I mean,
But again,
Golden State did it with.
I hope I'm
Looney.
wrong. And again, it depends on matchups because someone else could be a better matchup for Denver to take them out to playoffs. And then Phoenix, I would have winning the whole thing. So,
And I don't think Golden State's done. I still think they're moving Chris Paul.
oh yeah,
I
there's
don't-
no doubt in my.
I can't.
that is-
I can't see him start the season.
Him
with
and
Chris Paul.
Draymond, if they don't, there's gonna be like
It's gonna be
Jordan
another,
Poole
2-0
2-0.
punch. Yeah, another punch. Jordan Poole, by the way, will have great numbers in
Yeah.
Washington, but he won't do
And
anything.
Chris Paul, again, he was on Phoenix last year. You could tell his age showed at the second half of last year.
Right, I still think Golden State did that to get Poole's contract
Yeah,
off
yeah.
the books, and now they're trying to
for
see what,
team chemistry and
see
stuff
what
like
they
that.
can get.
But I think losing Divincenko is gonna hurt, and I
that's
haven't
gonna
seen
hurt.
him replace. But again, Kuminga, Moody, so they have a
That's it.
bunch of young guys who losing
and
Poole
they're
will
really
get
good.
them more minutes.
and they're really
stuff
good
like
at
that, yeah.
finding the role players because
Yeah.
you just need to shoot threes and play. If you can play
Yeah.
defense and shoot
So
threes, you can-
they'll be really good. But so again, I have the West is
Sacramento, if Fox is healthy, will be up there.
the West is
Except
just
they got a lot
so
to
wide
prove.
open.
They're going to want to play hard all.
I mean,
really
Memphis
season.
will obviously they're going to take a
I mean,
hit,
it depends on what.
but they can make the playoffs as a 7-8 seed with Morant.
Depends on what Morant. Where he
But
is
again,
mentally.
remember they have almost the same record when he's out as when he plays.
Yeah, but they also trade. What's his name left?
But they got the guy you find is the best in the world over there, Marcus Smart.
Oh, they did get Marcus Smart. Yeah, no, that is an upgrade. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. I think it all depends.
So,
Well, no, they lost Tyus Jones.
which bigger loss than people give credit for.
Yeah, no, he was the better point guard.
The fact that he never turns the ball over gets overlooked so
Yeah,
much.
he's definitely a top
He doesn't
point guard.
take risks. He's not like a top 30, but
No,
bench guys.
as a true point guard, he is. But the problem is because he doesn't shoot a lot, they don't give him credit.
Well, again,
Running the offense means a lot.
yes, but he can stall an offense too because he won't shoot. He's so afraid to
point.
turn the
Also,
ball
there's
over.
so many teams
but
that-
he's a good player.
Like
Solid player.
Boston needs a true point guard.
Is that where he went? Did he go to Boston?
No, he went to Washington.
Oh, that's right. He went to Washington.
So it's like Boston needs a true point guard to run the offense. You can see at the end of games, like in the fourth quarter of tight games, Tatum and D Brown, I always call him D Brown. Brown, always, that's my old school Celtics, are always Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
They don't get into the offense right because they don't have a point guard. Chris Paul to Boston would be great for them.
Depends.
I don't know who they would give up.
I think he's done, but
No, not to
I would
switch,
love to
just
see.
run it. Say, hey, get into your.
I don't even know if he's in the league. He is, but
Yeah, he's
he
in the
was
league.
never as the person I'm talking about. He was never as good as I expected him to be, but he'd be a perfect fit in Boston. Ricky Rubio, such a pass first guy. I loved watching him when he played for Spain. It's just something about it. He's still one of my underrated favorite players. I know he's not great, but he's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, so right now I think, God, it's hard. I would say, if I had to predict, I guess it'd be Philly, Boston. In the finals.
So if
Maybe Milwaukee if Giannis seems pissed, so maybe.
I'll go with Phoenix just because of I'm a Suns fan, so I'll make them pass at my 1 seed just for that. I'm gonna say Phoenix, Boston, with Phoenix winning it in 5 games.
Assuming it's all healthy, I don't know. That's two wings for Booker and Durant versus Tatum and Brown is good
With
matchups.
Beal.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying, but that's good matchups. That's why I don't think.
But that's my
We'll
homer pick. If I'm taking away the homer pick, I'm gonna say
Where did Brogdon go?
But
to?
my second pick will be he stayed in Boston because of his injury.
No, he got traded.
No, then he went
Oh,
back.
he got
to trade.
canceled.
The trade
Yeah, I didn't
stopped because that was another big name was going to come over to Boston, and that was before the Marcus Smart trade.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it's obviously going to change. Where Damian Lillard goes, if Paul George gets traded,
So right before the season, we'll
And
do
Harden,
another NBA
where Harden's
thing.
going.
So my number 2 possible option for the finals will be Milwaukee versus Denver. I think that would be an absolutely amazing series, and I think Milwaukee is one of the only teams that would beat Denver in a series because of their bigs not having a double on Jokic. So
I think Denver's going to have some problems. I think that tall forward guy is going to try to get his own. The one who struggled.
who, Aaron Gordon?
No, not
Or
Aaron Gordon.
Porter Jr.?
Porter Jr.
Yeah.
I think he's going to try to become a superstar,
Yeah,
and he's
maybe.
going to
We'll see.
Rifles.
Now, next
Rifles,
week,
not
we'll have to
rifles.
do like an NFL
NBA,
version
yeah.
of this.
That's the Jets. Jets.
Yeah, Jets.
He's a Jet fan.
He is. Everyone should be a Jet fan.
Should be.
All right. So we're going to leave it here
Yep.
and come back to the NFL next week.